The moment I stepped into the courtroom, my mother let out a faint, mocking laugh. My father simply shook his head, as if my defeat had already been decided. Their eyes said everything: pathetic, weak, irrelevant. But it wasn't their reaction that froze the room. It was the judge. His hand trembled, his face drained of color. He leaned toward the clerk and whispered, his voice barely audible. Yet I heard every word through the silence. Dear God, is that really him? Every pair of eyes turned toward me. In that instant, they finally saw who I was. Until that moment, I had been invisible to them, and that was exactly how I had planned it. I was born into a family obsessed with appearances. My father, a polished businessman hiding more secrets than assets. My mother, a woman who wore cruelty like perfume, living for gossip and status. And me? I was a shadow child, the mistake, the one who didn't belong. At every family dinner, I was ignored, mocked, or both. My brother was the golden son. Private schools, trust funds, the heir to my father's empire. I was the one told to be grateful for scraps. They taught me early that love came with conditions, and respect had to be begged for. I begged once. Never again. Still I tried. I worked double shifts to pay off their debts. I slipped money into their mortgage account to save their home. I even covered my brother's tuition fees. They called me lazy. They called me worthless. And for a long time, I believed them until the day I didn't. The truth surfaced quietly, like rot beneath polished wood. It started with a sealed envelope I found in the attic. My name was scrawled across it in my grandfather's handwriting. Inside were documents that made no sense: property deeds, bank records, and a will. His will, not the one that had been read after his death, the one that had named my brother sole heir. This was different. This one left everything to me. At first, I thought it was a mistake. But then I compared signatures. I saw the notarized seals. I noticed the altered dates. My parents had destroyed the original will. They forged another one and, in doing so, stole my inheritance. I replayed the years in my mind, their insults, their manipulation, the papers they made me sign without explanation. They weren't just cruel. They were thieves. I should have confronted them. I should have screamed. Instead, I folded the documents neatly, slid them into my jacket pocket, and smiled. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't powerless. Rage without control is useless. I let mine simmer until it turned to steel. I studied corporate law at night. I memorized every statute on forgery, inheritance, and shareholder rights. I learned the language my family had always used to keep me small. I didn't quit my job. I didn't storm into their house. I waited. I watched. I collected evidence. Bank statements hidden under false names, property transfers made to friends, backroom deals that couldn't survive daylight. And when I was ready, I made a single phone call to the only man my parents had underestimated, my grandfather's old lawyer, the one who still remembered the truth. Together, we built the case in silence. Not for weeks, not for months, for years. When the foundation was set, I struck. It began quietly, like the calm before a storm. Subpoenas were delivered to my father's office. His accounts were frozen overnight. My brother's smug grin vanished as creditors began circling. My mother panicked, calling every friend she had, only to find doors closing in her face. They thought it was bad luck. They thought it was coincidence. Until the lawsuit arrived. My lawsuit, filed with the original will, authenticated, notarized, and undeniable. My parents came to court confident. Their lawyer smirked. They'd forged documents before. They thought they could twist the truth again. But they hadn't calculated me. They hadn't calculated patience. I watched from the corner as the evidence unfolded piece by piece. Signatures compared, dates analyzed, witnesses called. Each revelation was quiet, deliberate, cutting through their lies like knives between ribs. And with each cut, I watched my family bleed. That brings us back to this moment. The day everything unraveled, when I walked into the courtroom, they saw the same failure they had raised. The extra mouth they never wanted. They didn't recognize the man who had built this moment with surgical precision. The judge's whisper silenced the room. My mother's laugh died in her throat. My father's smirk cracked. My brother shifted, for once afraid. I took the stand, not as a victim, not as a forgotten son, but as a rightful heir armed with truth sharp enough to cut through decades of deceit. I presented everything, document after document, signature after signature, the forgery, the fraud, the theft, and finally, I handed the judge a sealed envelope, the one I had carried for years. My grandfather's handwritten letter addressed to me. If you are reading this, it means the others have taken what was meant for you. But you are my blood. You are my legacy. Do not let them laugh at you any longer. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Absolute. My mother covered her mouth. My father's face sagged. My brother whispered frantically to their lawyer. But it was useless. The clerk read the letter aloud, each word striking like a hammer. The judge leaned forward, voice steady. This case is not only clear, it is damning. The estate belongs solely to him. The fraudulent actions of the defendants will be referred to the district attorney. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I simply watched as the world shifted. They turned toward me, not with contempt, not with pity, but with fear. When the gavel struck, it wasn't just a sound of justice. It was a sound of chains breaking. I walked past my family without a glance. Their whispers, their pleading eyes, meant nothing. They had spent a lifetime teaching me that I was invisible. Now I was untouchable. Outside the courthouse, the air felt cleaner. I thought of my grandfather, of his letter, of the boy I used to be, the one who begged for love at a table where none was offered. That boy was gone, buried beneath the ashes of betrayal. What remained was the man who waited, who planned, who struck at the perfect moment. As the city moved around me, I let the truth settle deep within my chest. They had laughed when I walked in. They weren't laughing when I walked out.